Have you been thinking about buying a home in Yorba Linda, but you're just not really sure how much you have to have saved up to actually be able to afford to live here? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about on today's episode. Hi, I'm Josh Alexander, your local real estate agent, as well as host of Discover Yorba Linda, your one-stop shop for all things Yorba Linda. So on today's episode, I'm going to break down everything you're going to need to know in order to be able to budget to be able to purchase a home in Yorba Linda in 2023. So let's go ahead and get into it. So there's basically three main components that you need to save up for if you're trying to purchase a home. You have down payment, you have closing costs, and then you have some miscellaneous fees that you need to account for inside escrow. So let's go ahead and briefly go over all three. So for a down payment, typically you're gonna have to have a minimum of 3 to 3.5% saved up in order to purchase a home. Now there are some exceptions to this, like if you're a veteran, you can go all the way down to 0%. However, we're gonna be focusing on the standard type of loans today. So let's just assume that you're gonna need to have a minimum 3.5% down. So the next thing you're gonna have to make sure you budget for is going to be those closing costs. So closing costs are gonna consist of things like lender fees, escrow fees, prepayment of taxes, insurance, all those type of things are gonna be rolled into one final number when you go to close escrow. Now, typically in Yorba Linda, I'm going to recommend that you wanna set aside about 2% of the purchase price to be able to go towards closing costs. Now that can vary a little bit here and there, but 2% is a pretty reasonable number that's going to be accurate for most homes when you're trying to purchase them within Yorba Linda. Now the third thing you wanna budget for are the costs involved to the buyer once you get into escrow before you actually close. And really for most loans, there's just two big things you have to worry about. Number one is going to be appraisal. So if you're having an appraisal on the property, so if you have the property under a loan, typically they're gonna ask for an appraisal. Most lenders are gonna have you pay for that up front. And right now, appraisals are running right around the $600 range. Could be $100 or $2 more than that or less than that, just depends on the company they're using. The second thing that you're gonna wanna budget for is that general inspection. So typically, you're going to wanna have your house inspected to make sure everything is okay, there's no major problems with it. And again, that's usually going to cost you around the $600 range. So in total, I usually recommend that buyers budget around $1,200 for anything that happens inside of escrow. You can budget a couple $100 on top of that if you want to be safe, but usually $1,200 is about what you're going to need to have saved up for those things that happen inside of escrow. So just to summarize, the minimum you need to be able to purchase a home in Yorba Linda is going to be that 3.5% for the down payment, 2% of the home's value for closing costs, and around $1,200 for any cost incurred inside escrow. So now let's go ahead and look at some real life examples so you can get an idea of what the actual dollar amount is going to be if you're trying to purchase either a condo or a single family home inside Yorba Linda. So let's go ahead and start with the condo first. So as of right now, at the very beginning of February, the average price of condos hitting the market in Yorba Linda is $625,000. So if you look at that and take the 3.5% minimum down payment you're going to need to purchase that property, that's going to be a little bit under $22,000. On top of that, you're going to want to add that 2% for closing cost, which is going to be $12,500. And then you want to add that $1,200 for any cost inside escrow. And that's going to give you a grand total of a little bit less than $36,000 that you need to have saved up before you go out and start to look at purchasing a condo inside Yorba Linda. So now let's go ahead and look at a single family residence inside Yorba Linda. So right now, the average price single family home going on the market in Yorba Linda is right around $1.25 million. Now, due to the way conforming loan limits work, and if you want more information about this, feel free to DM me anytime, it probably doesn't make sense for you to put that minimum 3.5% down because you're going to be going into a jumbo loan category, which your interest rate's going to be a lot higher. However, if you can put 5% down, that's going to keep you in a conventional loan, which is going to typically give you a better interest rate. So let's go ahead for this one and assume that you're going to want to save up about 5% minimum to be able to purchase a home with inside Yorba Linda. So again, for that $1.25 million home, you're probably going to want to save up right around $63,000 for that 5% down payment. On top of that, you're going to want to save up about $25,000 for that 2% for the closing cost. And then again, around the $1,200 for those miscellaneous things that you have to worry about inside of escrow. So in total, you're going to need to have saved up $88,700 to be able to purchase a single family home inside Yorba Linda at the average cost that we're seeing them right now. So whether you're trying to buy a condo or a single family home in Yorba Linda, hopefully this video gives you a good blueprint of the absolute minimum that you have to have saved up in order to do so. Now obviously you can put down more in terms of your down payment, 5%, 10%. Once you get to 20%, then you don't have private mortgage insurance anymore, so your monthly payments will drop. However, everybody's going to be different. So you can use this blueprint to at least get an idea of the minimum you have to have in order to even go through and start looking at purchasing a home in Yorba Linda. So if you found this episode useful, make sure you don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that bell button below as well. That way you're notified every single week when I release a new episode, so you can stay updated on what's going on in Yorba Linda, not only in the housing market, but also what's happening with restaurants, local events, park reviews, all that kind of stuff I go over in the channel as well. So make sure, again, you hit that like, subscribe, and that share button if you know anybody else that either lives in Yorba Linda or is thinking of making Yorba Linda their home. That way they can have a better understanding of this great city. So until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you on next week's show.